So to give you a little more of an overview on how we're going to run this theater course, I'm just going to share my screen and share a presentation with you.
Jeremy, okay, you can share, right?
I
Okay.
can share. Yes, yes, I can share. Yeah. Can you all see my screen? Yes, can you all see my screen? Give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Uh, where are we? Yeah. Yeah, so this is the theater open house, and in this, we will be talking about different things that you may know, that you may want to know, that you are looking to find out how we're going to run it. So, welcome to this theater open house, and I think one of the first things that I want to emphasize in the theater open house is that in these classes, in the theater course and any other course that we do, we focus on respecting each other, and we do our best to support one another and learn together. And I feel that this is something that I would bring up even before talking about the educational aspect of it or the material or anything, because this is something that we give a lot of importance to work and grow together. So the company that I run is called TrouperSphere, and I'm the artistic director of TrouperSphere. And it's a fairly new company. The reason is because for the past 5 to 6 years before this, I was running a company called JJ Theatric, and recently we have rebranded and now we call ourselves TrouperSphere. And I'm not going to go into a lot, but then half of the time I was JJ Theatric, I've been working with Elfwood. So if you'd like to know more about what I do or what TrouperSphere does or what Elfwood does, you can search for us. We will share links with you. We will share website, our social media platform, so you can go have a look at it. But TrouperSphere, in collaboration with Elfwood, will be doing this course together. So the theatre class curriculum. I will introduce to you what we'll be doing this year, and we'll be talking about the theatre elements, concepts, practices, and they'll go through a process where they'll properly understand the entire thing, all the way from ideation till production and everything that comes in between. So this will be a 36-week course, and in the same way 36 classes, because each class will be once a week. And from June 22nd, which is this coming Tuesday, to February 22nd, which is the last Tuesday of the month of February next year. So it's divided into 6 units. The first one is theater in context, where we'll look at different stories, all the way from Indian stories to different stories from around the world, like Karedi Tales, Dr. Seuss, The Crazy Story, and Panchatantra. Here we will be focusing on storytelling, dissecting that, understanding how these stories are used, put them in context, like you saw theater in context, and understand how we can create our own stories. So you'll be working on understanding the different parts of a story, plot, structure, rising action, falling action. All these things will be understanding over here using these stories as an example. The second unit is creating theater, where we will explore basic body movements, and everything will be done through activities and games. And when once we explore different body movements, by that we will understand how we use our bodies to embody different characters, embody the space that we are in, and as a result we'll understand the environments as well. Here we're using the term recreating environments, but if you want to talk about it technically, it would be understanding the setting, what settings, different settings and different places in history, in time. So we'll be focusing on that over here. The third unit is collaborative creating, and this is perhaps one of my most favorite units for two reasons. One is we build upon the second unit, where we go from understanding how we use our bodies to understanding how we use our voice, and we will develop imaginary characters and situation, and as a result we will collaborate and come up with the story of our own, and I'll tell you more about that when we come to the fifth unit. So that will be in the third unit. And in the fourth unit we'll talk about presenting theater, where students will be encouraged to develop, take initiative, and work in a collaboration individually and in groups, right? So here they'll take everything that they've learned before, and they'll learn how to work individually and in groups, plus at the same time they'll take it one level up. So now they know how to create theater. Instead of just performing on stage, they will understand everything that happens around the stage as well. For instance, they'll understand what's it like to be the director, a script writer, what's it like to work backstage, how does stage management work, how does lighting work, how do you have to have a decent idea of the lighting to understand how the actor is supposed to be. So these are different things that they will understand that revolves around the entire process of the first three units. So that will go into presenting theater. And finally, the last part is the project, where we will come together and put together a small little play. Now, the first time we did something with Elfwood, we put up the Christmas mouse. The second year, we did the shoemaker and the elves. And the first year, the Christmas mouse, we just pulled a script and we got the kids to do it. And the second year we did the Shoemaker and the Elves, where we took the story of the Shoemaker and the Elves, and together, all the students and myself, we deconstructed that story and rebuilt it to modify certain parts so that it fits within our narrative. For instance, let me just give you one example of what we did. You had the two elves who were the main characters, but once they met the shoemaker, they realized that the shoemaker was going under loss because the shoemaker's competition was companies like Adidas and Nike and Puma. So they took that classical story of the shoemaker and the elves and put it in today's world, and they made it an entire 45-minute fantasy adventure. So that's what we did the last time we put up a play. So that will be the project. And in the third unit, I said I'll talk about it more in the fifth unit. Basically, what we do is once we start and once we understand each other and how we work, what our likes are, what our dislikes are as a group, collaboratively we devise a play, we devise a story, and that process will start happening towards the end of the second unit into the beginning of the third unit, so that from the third unit onwards, parallel to the actual learning that happens in the class, we are also working on this project. So we are developing the story together, we are developing the characters together, and applying everything that we are learning to that, so that by the time it comes to the fifth unit, we just have to put it together and focus on practicing. Now, what's also interesting is outside of this course, there's also a film and photography course. So this year, since we have moved online, we were thinking that we will collaborate between the two courses as well, not just between students. So whatever the theater students do in terms of acting, it will become the project for the film and photography course, where they will make that into a little short film. So that's a collaboration that's happening between the two as well. Yes, so the different learning methods in the class, we'll be exploring a combination of techniques and to ensure everyone will have an excellent grasp of the curriculum, right? I will talk a little bit more about this, but I just want to say that we will be using the play with method. That means everything is done through games and activities, and all of these games and activities have a learning outcome and a learning objective. So it's not like a traditional school would have someone say something, take the notes down, put it on the board, look at the screen, this is the PowerPoint presentation. Just like in the beginning when we play this little game, some of the parents got the objective of that game. It was very simple, but all the activities and games have been done like that. So we focus on synchronous and asynchronous learning, and you probably would have already heard something about this or a lot as well. So if you look at the synchronous side of thing, we will be working on holding classes the same way we would hold if it were face to face. And I'll be teaching the lesson where the interaction there'll be interaction in the class, and we'll do this through video conferencing or live chatting. So just like we did, we'll do an interaction face to face, and sometimes I may interact with them on the chat, or sometimes they'll be on multiple apps where I'll talk a little later about. So that will be synchronous learning. Asynchronous learning is will be the lesson will be responsible for learning the lesson at your schedule. So for instance, if some of the students may not understand certain things, may not go back and forth, or with the number of students in the class, we will be able to provide individual attention so that we'll be able to address that specific doubt or issue that the student has, clear it, get it out of the way so that we'll be able to progress to the next part. So that is this as well. So in both ways, whether it's online or offline, this these two ways are what we use in the method of our teaching. Yeah. So in individual activities, what we would want of the students is one, reflection, which is a very big part of what we do, and that is whatever happens in the class, we will ask them to reflect on it. And sometimes this may be in terms of them doing an assignment, them doing homework or project, but everything is reflection. The reason why I put this down in the individual activities part, where just could be assignment and projects, unlike an academic subject, the emotional or the personal aspect of this plays a very, excuse me, plays a very important role. So we'll be asking students to reflect on what they did, to understand, to look deeper into themselves, to explore their own minds, to explore themselves, to understand themselves better, at the same time to understand the character that they're playing, to understand the story that we're playing. Right, so that's that. Assignments and projects are very straightforward. We will be giving assignments and homework, and an assignment will be given at the end of every week, every session. And if it is an assignment that requires something to be sent in, it needs to be sent in via email. And if it is just verbal, like they have to act something out, they'll obviously do that in the next class, or if required, they may record that and send it in. Then same thing that goes with projects, but projects may require a longer period of time to work on. So a project may be given every 2 to 3 weeks, and the way the project comes in is the same way. Collaborative activities, like we already spoke about, learning in groups is a very important part of what we do. We will use breakout rooms, we will use collaborative learning applications, and group activities will be done every 2 weeks or every week, and be presented as a culminating task. This instructions and everything will be provided at the time that we are doing this. Right, sometimes they may be required to work on their own outside of the class and everything as well. When the time comes to this, we will instruct the students and the parents how to collaborate outside the staff, outside the actual session that we're doing, so as to not have them steer away from what they actually need to do. Class requirements, and this slide is particularly directed to parents, as opposed to the previous few slides that were attracted to students, right? So we will be using Zoom to take our classes, and apart from that, we'll be using a couple of collaborative apps like Quizzes and Kahoot. This is so that we'll be able to enhance the learning experience. So sometimes we may ask them to jump on an app where they'll have to draw things and everyone can see it on the screen using their mouse or whatever. They can draw things. Sometimes it will be a game app like Quizzes, where they take different quizzes together, or where they play a word game together, where they play a story building game together on an app, or even if it's just using the whiteboard to do things, we will use different apps to do this. And the next thing is Chalk. Chalk is a platform where teachers can put down their lesson plans and put it in the units and structure it and everything. The reason I put down Chalk over here is it's also a platform where I'll be taking my attendance from. I'll be putting down assignments, homeworks and everything, and I'll be able to send out emails directly from that platform to parents, and their replies and everything will be properly put in order and documented. So Chalk is something that I'll be using to go back and forth. Then obviously a computer. I understand that sometimes it may be a little difficult to work with the electricity, to work with the Wi-Fi. Sometimes there may be computer glitches and everything, and I completely understand that. However, I would also say to try our best to have a computer with a webcam, which is essential, enable with the webcam. Try your best not to do this on the phone, is what I'm trying to say. And with that, it would be also great if you could use a headset as opposed to talking directly, for more reasons. One, it's more clear, it makes the learning experience so much better online. However, without that is good as well. And the last thing is with the homework, active participation in doing and working on students' homework. So sometimes when you give the homework out, I would request the parents to actively be a part of doing the homework with the kids. And sometimes the homework is a lot of fun. Sometimes it's just observing something and repeating it. It's not, and when I say do the homework with the kids, I'm not asking the parents to literally sit with them during the time they decide to do this, but to just actively be a part of it in case they need something. So that is with the homework and the class requirements. And just to quote John Wooden, don't let what you cannot do interfere with what you can do. And I think that is what we are going into this year and doing the online classes. That is what we want to go in with, and we are looking to have fun, productive, and very, very productive session. And yeah, so this is a little bit on what this is about. And throughout, even now and later, you can ask us anything you'd like to. You can reach out to us, you can email us, and we will be available certain hours of the day, and you can ask us anything you'd like. And now, with regard to this course specifically, I want to know if you have any questions, and you can ask that, and we'll be happy to answer that for you.